Like, they are the hardiest flowers you've ever seen. They would have shade for all the afternoon, and the tomatoes on the west side of the bed would then get the sun for the rest of the day. That has worked for me before. Marigold, basil, marigold, basil. We're gonna switch back and forth. See all these tiny little things here? I planted 2 front rows of snapdragons. Hey y'all, Amy here. Welcome back to the farm. Today I am out at my garden and we are gonna plant some stuff. Now before I show you what I've already planted and show you what I am gonna plant, I did want to mention this. You see how high this is? It's just right here. Okay, it's about 2 feet high and I've surrounded the majority of my garden with it. Okay, it goes down on that side and it goes down a little bit on this side. And so far, it has kept my chickens out of the garden. I was having the hardest time trying to keep my chickens in so it wouldn't get out. And I was like, I'm kind of going about this wrong. Let's do it differently. Let's let the chickens roam the whole farm and just keep them out of my garden. Because if they have everything else, why would they want to get in there? So far, it's worked. The first thing I'm going to tell you about is my tomatoes. Yes, I have put them in the ground, and at this moment, it's not even April yet. Tomorrow is April, and I decided to go ahead and put my tomatoes in the ground because everything in nature is saying that it's okay. Now I know that last frost dates and things like that, old wives' tales, tell you to wait till Good Friday, but y'all, I'm taking a chance and I went ahead and put them in the ground. So what I did here, let me tell you real fast what I did. This is the first time that I am doing tomatoes in ground. I've always done raised beds with my tomato plants and I don't have that option this year. So we are doing them in the ground. These are all multiple rows that I have everywhere out here, and I've put Brian, my husband, put trellises up out here. And what I did is once he made this row with the tractor, I went in and I dug it out to like a V shape in the center of it. And I filled it with compost and some of these wood chips because the soil here is very clayish and I wanted to add some structure to it so that it would actually drain, because this soil doesn't drain very well. Plus I added the nutrients of some compost that I had. I don't have a whole ton of it, thanks to my chickens getting into it, but I took what compost I did have and I put it in the V that I dug inside this, and then I kind of covered some soil back over it, mixed it all in together, and then I planted my tomatoes in it. Now I haven't fertilized them at all yet. I probably will within the next couple of weeks. We're going to keep an eye on their leaves and we're going to see how they do and see if they tell us if they need anything or not. Over here at my trellises, we do have stuff popping up already. We do have weeds, yes, but in these rows, what I did was I took some hay that I had from the bottom of my goat's pens, and before this whole area was tilled up, I just spread their bedding everywhere. Now, it is hay that I got from my brother, so I know that the field was not sprayed with anything. If you're going to use hay or straw, you want to make sure that it wasn't sprayed with anything first. But that was all spread in here, tilled into the ground. And when I get down here next to the soil, you can see that it does have some of the straw in it as well. But I've got some zinnias popping up here that I've put here at the front of my trellises, that side and this side. We have some zinnias here and here and here. And then y'all, my beans are coming up. These are going to be Blue Lake pole beans that are going to be growing up on these arched trellises. There are 3 trellises and I have the same beans on all of them. In between the trellises, I don't know how well it's going to show on camera, but can you see there's trellis, and I have a spot in between. And in between this one, I put more zinnias on each side, over there and over here. The zinnias are awesome here, y'all. The thing with zinnias is that all you have to do is put them in the ground And that's pretty much it. As long as the seed stays moist until it germinates, at that point you kind of just let it go and it's just gonna survive. Like, they are the hardiest flowers you've ever seen. It's kind of like plant it and forget it, basically. They do fantastic. Now this is my second trellis here. Back there we saw I have the zinnias. And right here between these two, what I chose to do is I have a few zinnias in the back, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but see all these tiny little things here? I planted 2 front rows of snapdragons here and here with a few zinnias behind them. At the end of my 3 rows, I planted basil. There's, I don't know, one side's lemon basil, like one half is lemon basil and the other half is a blue spice basil. I don't know which one is which. I forget. We'll see when they come up. And then on this side, the whole thing is dill. And then over here, I have my cucumbers. On these 2 trellises, I have pickling cucumbers. They are also all coming up. All right, I could talk about stuff all day long, but we are here to plant a few things. So let's do that. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do and why I'm going to do it. So I went to a couple different stores today and I was searching for already started marigolds. I like to plant marigolds and basil in between all of my tomato plants. They are excellent at keeping pests away. And y'all, I couldn't find any already started growing marigolds. I always just direct sow them. And this year, normally what I would do is I would have already had my marigolds started a week or so, maybe more, 2 or 3 weeks before I put my tomatoes in. My tomatoes are usually not in the ground for another couple of weeks, but here they are. And I haven't got all the marigolds and basil in the ground that I would like to have. They're gonna catch up to the tomatoes. They grow faster than the tomatoes do. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant some from seeds. Now my issue is going to be that because the tomatoes are in the ground, I have them mulched with oak leaves. Okay, I use oak leaves as my mulch around my vegetables. I have wood chips all in the pads, as you can see, and then I use oak leaves to mulch with. All of this is going to break down and be turned into the soil at the end of this. It's going to be fantastic for next year. But because I have leaves mulching my stuff, the leaves will prevent the germination, you know what I'm trying to say. Leaves are going to cover where the flowers would be germinating, and it's going to just smother them out. So we're going to have to smooth away the areas where we want to plant it. Okay, and we're going to try really hard not to let the leaves blow over that spot or cover that spot. We're going to have to pull any weeds that grow around that spot while the flowers are getting started. It's going to be harder than it would be if I had started the flowers in seed pots and had them ready. Normally when I plant my cucumbers and things over there, there's marigolds planted alongside them in between all of that. So they grow up together and they'll get mulched together and it's fine. When I do tomatoes, I have always just bought the marigolds to put in between them. I just have, because I don't have a greenhouse and it's easier for me to do that way rather than starting flowers also. I didn't, so I just have to do it this way. This is how we're at, because I can't find marigolds. So this is my pouch. Okay, I keep my seeds in here. I keep my little things in here, just by the way. So I'll link this down below. Actually, I have an Amazon storefront that has all my little stuff in it. If you want to see what I use on a regular basis, it's there. Okay. I picked these up at Tractor Supply today when I was looking for actual marigolds, just because I grabbed a few more. But I have some basil that we're going to plant in between. I have these from Baker Creek. These are the sugar and spice. And then there's another one. I got another one of those. And then I have the Bambino marigolds. And I have, oh, those are the only marigolds I brought out. I have more. I didn't bring out more. But we're also going to be putting some sunflowers in the ground today. These are so easy also. I'm going to tell you how to do that. We're not going to go in depth. I have a whole blog post on planting these sunflowers, and I'm going to link those in the description below, or link that in the description below. I can talk. Okay, so we're going to put these in the ground. You want to see how I make my thumbnail covers? Transparency here. Okay, I just do something like this, and then I'll take a screenshot of my video. So I get ready and I just like do whatever I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna show that I'm doing some of this stuff, and I just kind of like do this bug, and then I hold it up like this, and I do just different, like, I check the viewfinder and make sure my hair is straight, and I'll go like this and be like, smile, smile, smile. Oh. And I just do different faces and things, and I don't know what's going to turn out and what's going to look good. And there we have it. And then I'll have my thumbnail cover. And then I just keep on going with my video. Okay, so what we're going to do right here is we're going to put a little bit of basil, and we're going to put a little bit of, actually, you know what? I also have, I told you I had sunflowers out here. I think I'm going to do some sunflowers also. Yeah, tomatoes aren't going to do fantastic without shade. And a lot of times you'll see people put a shade cloth over them. Like if you can have them where they'll get like half the day in sun and half the day in shade with like a tree line or something, that's good. They do need a lot of sun, but they can have too much sun. And so what I have done in the past is I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. And it's gone. What I have done in the past is I have planted north-south, okay, a bed north-south, and I've planted tomatoes on each side of a raised bed going north-south, and a long row of sunflowers in the middle, long thick row of sunflowers in the middle. And those sunflowers, the morning sun comes up and it would get the east side of the bed, the tomatoes would get sun all day up until high noon and a little after, and then the sun would start going on the other side of the sunflowers, because sunflowers grow tall and thick and lush, and then they would have shade for all the afternoon, and the tomatoes on the west side of the bed would then get the sun for the rest of the day. That has worked for me before. And this garden runs east-west. So could I have done beds this way? Not very easily. There's a fence right on that side, so the tractor attempting to do rows in this direction, it just wouldn't have been good. We're just working with what we have. But for the future, if you ever in a situation where you need more shade for your tomatoes, you can do that. And also what you want to do is you want to succession plant your sunflowers, because they won't last as long as your tomatoes will a lot of times. So you'll want to get these started before you put your tomatoes in the ground, and like do a zigzag pattern of them, and then you're going to come back later when those sunflowers are like this tall and plant some more in between them before the sunflowers shade the ground too much, so that you kind of have them growing like at a staggering rate, and it lasts longer that way. Anyway, just a little tip there. Things I have done in the past that worked for me. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put a couple of these different seeds all right here. I'm gonna start with just 2 little sunflower seeds. They come up, actually let's put 3 just to be sure we get some. And I'm gonna put those kind of in the back here. Then here's my trellis right here. Here's my tomato plant right here. And so if I put one here, yes, we'll have a little bit of tomato overgrowing it, but hopefully this will take off and get going before the tomato does. And this can help shade this tomato plant from the harsh late afternoon sun. Now, in front of that, I am going to do a couple of marigolds. Okay, that's a lot. Let's just do a couple of these. We're gonna do that. Just stick them in the ground right in front of it. Okay, just under the ground. For these, you want to plant these 1/8 of an inch deep. So I kind of just pressed it there, and I really just pushed it down into the ground. It's barely got any soil over it. And this is the blue spice basil, and that I'm gonna do kind of more in the front a little bit. Do have some weeds popping up already, but we're gonna try to do a little bit of that in the front. These are super, super tiny right there. And I'm just gonna do a little line like this. Just gonna sprinkle them in. It's like barely deep at all. And I'm really just gonna press like so. Really don't want it hardly anything. This is actually needs to be a little bit deeper than these marigolds. These marigolds are 1/8 of an inch deep, and these are 1/4 of an inch deep. So we're just gonna very shallowly do this. And we're gonna hope that all these leaves and stuff we can keep out of the way. We're gonna do stuff in between each of these tomato plants, but we're not gonna do the sunflowers. The sunflower we just did here, and then I've got sunflowers down there that I already have in the ground. But we're gonna do marigold, basil, marigold, basil. We're gonna switch back and forth between each of these. This time I think I'm gonna open this one. The soil is very, very wet. It rained all day yesterday, so now it's all sticking to me. Anyway, that was the end of it there. That's Raja. And I have a little bit of a row here that is a little bit of extra space. And what I thought I would do is put some sunflowers here. And I could put more vegetables here. I could. But I think that if I can provide a little bit more shade in the garden, with some sunflowers mingled here and there, that would probably be good, because we're out here in the open with nothing around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put a little bit. This is the first year that I don't have a bunch of sunflower seeds that I saved from previous years. I had an entire field of sunflowers out here the year before last, because I had saved so much seed that I just did a whole field of sunflowers, and it was gorgeous, and we did family pictures with them, and it was really fun. And this year I'm going to save seed again, but I'm having to buy seed this year, and that's okay. So I'm going to use this one and this one and this one, and I'm just going to kind of go back and forth, and I'm gonna sow them right here into this ground. This row right here does not have any compost in it. It's just the dirt that I had that was out here. Yes, do you need something? He says he's hungry. It's time for supper. Just a minute. You might hear the baby goats in the background crying too. They're like, it's all supper time. What are we doing, Mom? It's time to eat. I have, like I told you before, we put the hay out here that got all tilled into this. But aside from that, there's going to be nothing in this except for just the dirt that was here. And there's all the green. See all that green everywhere? This whole garden was that before Brian tilled it up. And he tilled it up like 3 or 4 different times to get the season started. Sunflowers don't need a bunch of compost. They don't need a bunch of fertilizer. They don't need a bunch of anything. They're good. They do need regular watering to get a good start. But other than that, for the most part, they're good. Like I said, there's a link to a blog post I have on it in the description below. And let's stick some of these in the ground. We're just gonna go what's the word? It's not mingle them. It's not mix them up. We're gonna disperse them mingled in amongst each other. What is the word for that? What are we doing? We're just like jumbling them together, this, that, and the other. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. We're just gonna put these in the ground. All right, y'all, well, thanks for hanging out with me today while we stuck some seeds in the ground and talked about garden stuff. I cannot wait for all of this to come up. It is going to be a jungle of gorgeousness. I cannot wait. Until next time, keep on the sunny side.